We begin tonight with some breaking news out of the U.S. The Centers for Disease Control has changed its policy on mixed vaccine doses, and that's something that could impact Canadian travelers. Let's bring in CBC senior correspondent Paul Hunter, who's following this developing story from Washington. Paul, what are we learning?
Hey, Janella, the change is a big one from the U.S. perspective and a huge one for all kinds of Canadians. Recall earlier this week when the U.S. said it would allow fully vaxxed Canadians to make land crossings into America as of early November. Well, there were a couple of big questions coming out of that. When exactly in November, and who's included in being considered fully vaxxed? Today, we learned the specific date, November 8th. Tonight, we learned the U.S. will also now accept mix and match as being fully vaccinated. This is new for the U.S., and that means Canadians who mixed and matched their COVID vaccines will be allowed in at land crossings. And while the Centers for Disease Control didn't say AstraZeneca by name, it did say it will accept mixing and matching of vaccines approved by either the Food and Drug Administration or, this is the key part, the WHO. So, connect the dots, and since it's got WHO approval, that means Canadians who did the AZ and then, for example, the Pfizer, will be allowed into America at land crossings, again, beginning November 8th. Huge news for all kinds of people who'd been worried they might still be blocked at the border. Worry no more, the CDC says you're good to go.
Okay, let's go back to that one point, which is the announcement earlier today, about that November 8th date. The U.S. announcing it's opening its borders to non-essential travelers from around the world. What more do we know about that?
Yeah, it is a big day in this country when it comes to other countries as well. I mean, given all the attention we've been paying to the U.S.-Canada border, it's been easy to kind of forget the U.S. had shut its doors to all kinds of other countries as well because of COVID, going all the way back to Donald Trump shutting down most travel to the U.S. from China, January of 2020. Then came Europe, then the Canada-U.S. border, and there were plenty of others. And that's been in place this whole time. Yes, there were workarounds, but effectively non-essential travel to America from all over has been on pause ever since. One estimate puts the cost to the U.S. travel industry at $250 billion. Today, word that November 8th is also the day that will end, at least for fully vaccinated travelers from all those other countries. The White House is careful to underline this is being driven by science and data, Janella. We talked about numbers yesterday. They're hardly perfect when it comes to COVID in this country, but they are trending downward. The U.S. vaccination numbers are creeping upward. It's enough for the U.S. to start opening its doors again. And indeed, tonight, the twin headlines to Canadians wanting to make land crossings and to the world, November 8th is the day. And even if those travelers are double vaxxed, including AstraZeneca being one of them, the CDC is saying that's okay. It's good news for all kinds of people.
All right, CBC's Paul Hunter in Washington. Thanks for those details. Have a great weekend.
Yep, you too.